Yeah. All right. Perfect. All right. We'll start it out. We'll do one question at a time. Like I said, just, we got a lot of hands raised and get through as many people as possible. So let's lead it off with Austin Ward. Austin, go ahead.
Hey, Parker, congrats on the promotion. Can you take us through a little bit the off-season discussions with Coach Day and why maybe you felt like you deserved this opportunity?
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you. First of all, thanks for having me here. It's a huge honor. There's when you say earned or deserved, or I'm not quite sure what you said, but that's never the case. It's one of those things that, at this place, the tradition, the history, and just kind of all the work everybody's put in before me, I just hope to kind of, keep that going and enhance it as best I can. I've been around here for a little bit of time, kind of know the system and kind of know the ins and outs of the place. And so one of the main goals is to just trying to keep some continuity and enhance what we're doing without, huge turnover and huge change. And that's one of those things. I'm very fortunate to be in this position that I feel like I'm capable of doing that. So.
All right, we'll go next to Nathan Baird from Cleveland.com.
Parker, can you kind of just go into your special teams background, why that's something that at some point in your career you developed a passion for?
Yeah, that's actually my first special teams job was here. I was Coach Meyer's intern. And so I played quarterback in high school and college. And my first job, I coached high school ball, coached quarterbacks back in Georgia. And then I came up here, I was at Capital University and I was coaching quarterbacks over there. And Coach Meyer's staff had just kind of come together in that 2012 season. And I was just looking for any opportunity to be a part of this program. And there was a special teams internship available. And I didn't really know what it meant. I wasn't exactly sure what the details were gonna be. And I just kind of, I'll do whatever you need, anything. I'm in, count me in. And getting to learn from Coach Meyer early, kind of the not just the system, because it's really not about a system of plays. It's about just the entire culture of the building was huge. And that happened for me in 2012. And then I worked as a graduate assistant in 2013, working with both the receivers and the special teams. And then when I left, I kind of got to take some of that with me and develop my own a little bit. But that was really my first, was here as an intern. Just wherever I can fit in, I will. And from there, it's kind of developed into something that I understand impacts the game a lot. And I get to coach all the players, which is something I really enjoy.
All righty, next up, we'll go to Dave Biddle from 247. Dave.
Thanks, Mike. Hi, Parker. Nice to meet you. Looking at your special teams this year, what are kind of the strengths that you expect from the special teams this year? Maybe what's something that concerns you right now when you look at your special teams?
It's a good question. Strengths. I mean, any roster that has as much depth and as much skill as we do, a lot of speed, a lot of physicality, that you can typically take advantage of that in the kicking game. One of the things is, a 40-yard at least play, that stuff shows up a little bit more. So that's always going to help us, guys that can run and hit and play fast. And, good football players are good on special teams. It happens one way or the other. Either they're good on special teams and then they develop, or they're just good football players and they play well on special teams. So that's something that I think will help us. And then, concerns anytime you have and turnover in any position, we're losing some guys. We had on that punt team, Luke Farrell and Pete Werner and Tuff Borland and Barron and, all the guys that have a lot of experience, and Drew Crispin, obviously, and so we're kind of replacing a bunch of those key personnel in certain spots. But, we've had a great spring and we've got a bunch of really tough, accountable guys that I think will be able to step in and do a really good job for us.
Thank you.
All righty, next we'll go to Dan Hope from 11 Warriors. Dan.
Hey, Parker, just what's it been like the last couple of years working alongside Matt Barnes when he was special teams coordinator, and how much does it help you to still have him here as a resource that you can lean on?
It means everything. I mean, I'm sure you guys have gotten to know him through his time here, and he's outstanding. He's extremely detailed. He's extremely well thought out. Everything that he does has purpose. And what it does is it allows me to have another, in a lot of ways, I feel like I was his sounding board for the past couple of years. And he had a great background, and I helped in the continuity of things that had been here before he got here. But he really took it and ran and did his thing, which obviously did a great job. And that's kind of what he is right now for me. It's a sounding board of, hey, what do you think about this? Well, these guys doing this. And the other thing is during drills, because he understands what we're trying to do so well, he can help take a group of these guys and go do specifically exactly what we need. And there's just a little bit less, learning curve for a guy that doesn't quite know the ins and outs as well when they're running some of the drills in the spring, and it's been huge, really helpful.
Alrighty, next we'll go to Bill Rabinowitz from the Columbus Dispatch.
Hi, Parker. Welcome to Ohio State. Nice to talk to you, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
Give me your impressions of, you've got a new punter and new kicker. I'm assuming that Jesse and Austin are the projected starters of those positions. Could you give me your impressions of those guys and how they've kind of progressed this spring?
Well, it would be Jesse, and probably Jake, I think, is the one you're assuming is for the kicker. And Jake,
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. I get it. Assumed starter is a, it's kind of it's a competition, always is. We'll always play the best player at every position. Returning guys, Jake kicked last year. I don't know if we expected him to. There's a lot of situations where he went in and performed really well. He kicked in the national championship game for us. And so
Right.
he's not a new player. Jesse, obviously, if he wins the job and everything works out, he will be new. New to a lot of things, but his development and Jake's development has been really good. Had a great winter to get stronger and work through tough. There's a lot of things that, specialists need mentally, physically, all that. And then getting with the team and doing our drills. It's the first time for some of them to go through a punt period or to go through a field goal period as the guy. And so, that's been really good. And I think that, their development this spring has been key, and they're going to have to continue to develop through the summer and in fall camp for it to really, maximize where they are. But so far it's been really good.
Thank you.
All right, next we'll go to Doug Lamarice, Cleveland.com.
Hey, Parker. Just a logistical question. When you aren't working with special teams, what position groups are you helping with primarily?
I'm helping with the defensive backs in the defense. That was something that was new to me, but in 2019, 2019, I sat in a lot of defensive meetings with in the springtime with some of my spare time, learning the defense as it was installed. And that's been, I'm just passionate about football in general. And so it's good for me. It's good for the team. I'm kind of an offensive guy in the defensive room. And then in terms of running the drills, and like Coach Barnes, Matt runs all the DB meetings and takes care of that, but I help him and make sure we'll split up, and I'll go run a drill and he'll run a drill when we have a lot of guys going at the same time. That's where my time is spent right now.
Thank you.
All righty, next we'll go to Tony Gerdeman, Buckeye Scoop.
Parker, Ohio State has not had a kickoff return touchdown since 2010.
Jordan Hall.
What are you going to do about it?
We're continue to work it. It's been interesting. The past couple of years with the fair catch rule being implemented, it's kind of changed a lot of teams' strategies. It's changed a lot of teams' time spent. It really has. And the risk reward is different now than it used to be. I'm sure you guys see it on our kickoff too. It used to be a different weapon, and the fair catch rule it changes strategy a little bit, which, it's our job to then find a way to make to get another advantage somewhere. We've had some big hits in the past. Like last year, we had one against Indiana. We got called back for a penalty, and then that just changes your whole mindset about what's the reward you get. Our offenses have been extremely explosive, and that's something that you just have to weigh. We have really good returners. We have really talented guys that we can put back there, and we've worked it hard this spring, and we'll just see kind of how it goes from here. But we're working it. They've changed a couple other rules in terms of your wedge fits and different things that make it a little more difficult than it used to be to kind of get the thing started. So we just have to be creative. And to be honest with you, we got to get some guys hitting some home runs.
All righty, we'll go next to Tim May from Lettermen Row.
Thank you very much, Mike. I was going to ask you if you had to teach Jesse that if he kicks it between the uprights, it's not 6 points, but I digress. Parker, do you scout? Do you watch other teams, video, pro, college, et cetera, to pick up tips? I mean, what is sort of like your approach to that aspect of it?
Do you mean on special teams?
Yeah, on special teams.
Absolutely. I mean, I watch everybody that will, in any film they'll let me have. And we have a great video library here. And so, depends if you're saying in season, out of season. Out of season, we do a lot of studies. So like, for example, kickoff return. So we'll go find and find some explosive kickoff returns from the last couple of years with the current rules and watch them and evaluate what are other teams doing well. In the off season, that's kind of our punt. What are we doing? How are we adjusting? What are our enhancements? Punt block, just same type of thing. And we'll get with other coaches and we'll, sounding board for each other and professional development. And what are their techniques? Are there little tips that they can give, or we can, and that's a fun game, obviously not giving away much, but trying to get as much as you can. And then in season, you kind of have to keep up with the current trends. So a play will happen and it'll get on Sports Center, or teams will watch it, and then you got to expect that other teams are going to do that. So that's the big parts. But the little things, yeah, you got to go back and see what's worked against the opponent or the coordinator that you're facing years back, as far back as they've really been in control, and just see what has been effective, what is not. Can we enhance? Can we continue? And it's everybody, NFL, pro or college, high school, whatever's out there, we'll try and find and try and get an advantage from it. So
thanks, man.
All righty, we'll go next to Joey Kaufman from the Columbus Dispatch.
Hi, Parker. Just wanted to ask again a little bit about your time as an intern back in 2012 with Urban Meyer. He's known as somebody who places a big priority on special teams. And how did that maybe change your outlook about special teams? Either your appreciation for it, just kind of what lessons do you think you really learned from that time?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't want to answer without giving full, compliments first to Coach Meyer and kind of the whole culture that he had built, not just here, but other places. And, he did teach me I alluded to it earlier. Very rarely do you get in front of the team, as a coach, as a position coach. Every once in a while, you get in front of the team. And then as a special teams coordinator, you get to coach the whole team. You get to talk to everybody, and you get to set the tone for the day. A lot of times you're the first meeting, and a lot of times you are, motivating, not just the specifics of the kicking game, but of the day, the practice, the game, whatever we're doing. And a lot of times you have your elite players that are already playing a ton, and then you've got to, get the other guys to play up to that level. So there's a big dynamic that, it's almost a study in, just the human element. And he taught me early that impact, it's way more than just, the net punt. There's so much more that goes into it. And I learned that, and I learned to love that and appreciate that. As a quarterback's coach or quarterback, being a quarterback, you live in a smaller world. It's different, not in a smaller importance world, just in terms of who am I worried about and how many people am I really talking to? And then when you go talk to the kicking game, the whole team, and then not to mention the explosive plays that every kicking play is, there's just so much impact on a game and so much impact on, the entire team, where other things don't quite have that. And then specifically just the system and the individual little techniques, and they changed, they've evolved from then to now. I could still tell you exactly how it was back then, but we don't call it the same thing for great reasons. We've evolved, we've changed, but the foundation of fundamentals is still there. And that's when it gets exposed. If you're a good football player, play with great base, play with great feet, great eyes, great hands, and football position, you'll do it well if you go really hard and do it in the kicking game. And if you don't, it'll be exposed. So that's one of the other things that I learned, and I've really enjoyed about it and embraced. Great question.
All righty, we'll go to Patrick Murphy from 247. Patrick?
Parker, good to talk to you. First of all, is that a national title ring you're rocking on the hand?
No, this is this. I don't know if you can see. I think it's out on Twitter. Is it out? We're good. I'll say. So this is the Big Ten ring we just got. We just got them today at practice. So literally, I just walked off the practice field, and you can see. It's like hot off the press right here. So I figured I would, try it on for a day or so, and then I'll probably take it off and put it away. So it's fresh.
Very nice. Well, congrats. When you were asked about the kick return, you immediately said Jordan Hall. You talked about how you played offense and whatnot. So I'm just interested in how you become, what you do to learn special teams when you first get into this role, and how you kind of fall into that and get to where you are, because clearly that wasn't your specialty as a player. So how does one evolve into this kind of role when you played a very specific position like quarterback?
I think special teams is it's all of football kind of combined. There's so much going on, and there's offensive players, defensive players. You're blocking, you're tackling, you're running, you're hitting, you're scheming up. We could get into that another time, but like you're scheming up kickoff return. And what is it? Is it a gap scheme? Is it a man zone scheme? Those are offensive concepts. And then you're on the other side, and we're gonna go cover kicks. And so what's our fit? Okay, we're going to play this. We fit things the same as we do on defense. same rules in terms of when we're spilling, when we're, people say box contain, we say compress contain. What are your fits going to be? And so now we have overlap players. So what are you doing? I'm playing linebacker. And so a lot of the concepts, and that's kind of one of our teaching methods, is that the concepts that you learn in kicking game aren't specific to kicking game. You can apply these when you're a blitzing linebacker, or when you are a receiver running a route, because you're playing gunner and then you're playing receiver, and then you're Josh Proctor's a gunner and he'll blitz at safety, and they use a lot of those same techniques. So it doesn't get specific to special teams. Now there's a few, catching kicks is different. You don't do that on offense or defense. Blocking punts, you don't do. Downing punts, you don't do. So there's a few specifics that we have to, really, really focus on and work to make sure the guys doing those jobs can be excellent at them. But in terms of, how did I develop into this role? In my mind, it's football. That's what we do. And so, we apply it in different ways. We're attacking protections on pump block. That's what we're doing. It's no different than how are you on punt? What are we doing? We're protecting. And so there's some consistency between, coaching an offense or coaching a defense, or when I coached offense, you have to understand what the defense does as well to be able to counter and work off each other. And that's, you get that big picture down, and then, the techniques and the specifics are, just something that we have to continue to work. And honestly, how did I develop into it? I worked for Coach Meyer. I worked pretty hard. He promoted me, and then I got a job. Everett Withers gave me my first job, coordinating special teams at James Madison. I owe him a great amount of, gratitude, because he took a shot on me. I coached wideouts and special teams for him there. And then he took me to Texas State. So I had some experience doing that, and it kind of just grew, and Coach Meyer called me to come back, and, here we are. So it's kind of been, one of those type of situations.
Thank you.
All righty. We'll do two more for Coach here. We'll go to Jeremy Birmingham. Jeremy, go ahead.
Hey, Parker, I don't want to take you back to your job interview, but I'm going to try to put you on the spot. You've used the word enhance a couple times as far as changing special teams in your role. How do you specifically individually do that when, special teams itself seems to the layperson to be kind of a dying part of football? How do you change that specifically or enhance it specifically?
Special teams is dying in certain ways, but it's definitely not dying at all in terms of impact of the game. So you can choose, if you want, to view it that way, or you can choose that it's a weapon, because if the opponent sees it like that, good. We don't. So that's one of the, like I said earlier, how do you take the current rules and make them an advantage for us? And it gets tough. You get into certain situations that you don't have as much control over. If we're going to, the kickoff team for years here has been a weapon. And then if the team chooses to fair catch the ball, good. That's fine. That's not our call. We then have to find a way to keep it an advantage. And maybe that is a motivational tactic for our guys. We get excited because they fair catching. Good. Let them do that. And then we try and take that edge to the next phase. And that's something we really can't control. But the weapon of our punt team, our punt return team, our punt block team, downing punts inside the 10-yard line, situational football, knowing, our hands and onside, those will never go away. And as much as they work in other ways to change and evolve, the rules, so special teams has a different impact. The overall impact will never go down. It just won't. The ball moves too far every play for the impact to not be at all-time high. And until they, limit how far you can kick a ball, then that won't change, because the ball field position is just such a difference in winning and losing. And that's really what we're in charge of, is how much the battle of field position can we impact. So it's kind of vague, but there's a lot going on there. It's a good question though.
We'll wrap up Coach Parker here with Tim Hall from 97.1.
Hey, thanks, Parker. Kind of going off of your last point there, maybe a two-parter. You mentioned special teams getting diminished in certain ways, but the guys that are actually putting the foot on the football, I mean, that's always critical. We've seen you guys win games with the punting game and kicking key field goals as well. Now, also last part, just wondering, returners, Garrett Wilson and Jaxon Smith-Njigba last year, and DeMario, how's that shaping up? Is there anybody new flashing?
Yeah, we've had a couple new guys, but for the most part, when you have an established crew that have done it, there's less emphasis on the returning, more emphasis on the other parts of those phases, the blocking and the time ups and those type of things. We've tried out a bunch of different guys back there. And to be honest with you, I'm hoping that we don't have the same concerns next year that we did last year. You could not imagine the number of guys that we practiced in those roles just based on COVID scenarios, that you just don't know what's coming next. And so we have a lot of banked reps, as we call them, from different guys getting reps back there, running backs, receivers, DBs, that are going to be available if we need them to, because we've gotten a lot of reps. But we didn't emphasize, the returner this spring very much. So there's not a lot of new development in who's going to be back there.
Alrighty, Coach. Really appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate your time. Talk to you again soon.
Thank you. All right, folks, we got Coach Hartline here for you. We'll do the same drill with Coach. We'll start it out with Tony Gerdeman from Buckeye Scoop. Tony, go ahead.
Brian, we talked to Ryan on Monday. I asked him about Jaxon Smith-Njigba, and he said you guys wanted to get him work with the ones, and just wondering that thought process, and then what you've seen from him and how you think he's done this spring.
Jaxon he's done a great job spring-wise. I would say he knows he may have one little dip in the middle of spring, but he kind of started out hot, had a day maybe where he had to catch his breath, and he's been on fire since. I think he's doing a great job. I think that he may be our best blocker in the room. His blocking on the perimeter, his desire, his physicality is much needed in our room. And he's probably the best one at it. He's a pleasure to coach, love coaching him. But throughout spring in general, I'm always trying to rotate guys and get different feels with guys and get different rotations the best you can. It's not always perfect, but you want to get different guys with different quarterbacks, and you want a constant rotation the best you can just to change the people they're going against defensively, change who they're working with operationally, offensively. But it's been a great spring for him. I think he's one of those guys that definitely helped take a step.
All righty, next we'll go to Austin Ward from Lettermen Row. Austin.
Hey, Brian, I know Julian's been banged up a little bit this spring, and really since he got here, he hasn't had the year of development probably that he envisioned, just with all the other complications. Where is he in this process? We know it might take a little bit of time. And what have you tried to get out of him this spring when he was able to, participate in some fashion?
Yeah, Julian's not the only one. There's multiple of guys that have been robbed of crucial development time. Obviously, they were robbed of that last spring. The whole team was robbed of that last spring. Obviously, he's been going through some things since high school medically that he needed to get cleared up. Got it cleared up, but it was pretty intensive. I mean, the kid is one of the toughest kids I've ever probably been around to operate the level he's operated at with a linebacker strap on his shoulder to help protect that thing, and then try to execute at such a high level. I mean, I think he's a special individual. His size and speed combination are like I've probably never seen in college football, me personally. In the development he's had from last camp, if you will, whatever you want to call that, through the season, to also develop but also learn football and grow, I thought was really awesome. Unfortunately, we did not have or enough time with him through the spring because of getting things fixed, since high school. But I'm so excited for Julian. I think he's a rock star as an individual. And I look forward to getting him back on a full-time, regiment. But, it is what it is. Spring's part of that. Everyone has a different plan in spring, and he needs to get ultra healthy first so he can maximize what he's capable of doing. But I'm really excited about where he's at mentally and how he's progressing physically, and then the health at which he's going to be able to have, which the guy's been operating at 75% for the last couple of years. I'm really excited for him for that too.
Thanks, Brian.
All righty, next up, we'll go to Doug Lamarice from Cleveland.com.
Hey, Brian, I asked Ryan this similar question. When you have guys like Garrett and Chris who are back with their level of talent, but also their level of experience, and I'll throw Jeremy Ruckert in there, just guys like that, you've been around great receiver rooms, but what does it do for an offense when you have the talent and the experience and it's not just one guy, it's multiple guys? What could this passing game do as a result?
Well, I think that, when you name all the guys, they're all over the board, whether they're left tackles or right tackles or centers or running backs. I think at the end of the day, we need to understand that we should have no lower standard than a high execution rate. It doesn't matter really where it's going or how it's getting there, but we're executing at a high level. And if you lose that opportunity and you don't capitalize on your opportunity, good chance you might not see another one. Everyone's going to get a lot of opportunities, but it's how you do capitalizing on your opportunities that will help dictate, how things are going, if you will. There's still only one ball. The ultimate goal is to win football games. And we do have a lot of talented guys, and a lot of talented guys you didn't even name. So that being said, we'll get creative. We're going to find ways to have a lot of fun out there and get the ball spread all kinds of different ways. And when the ball's in the running back's hands, we got to do a phenomenal job, blocking on the perimeter and creating space in the run game. So, I think, coming in with an elevated, talent pool, if you will, is that we could, we can try some new things. We can do different things, and, we can have a little more fun with it and really take everything to another level. We've reached a certain level. How about the next level? And at the end of the day, these guys have a way to go in their careers. And if they don't believe that, they won't reach that. So we've had a great job through spring, pointing that out, executing on that. And then again, we stay healthy. So.
All right. Alrighty. We'll go next to Bill Rabinowitz from the Columbus Dispatch.
Brian, the success of your unit obviously is directly tied to the quarterbacks, and in the last 2 years you've had Justin and Dwayne before that. Can you just describe the level of confidence you have that whoever the quarterback is going to be able to play at the level that your guys are going to be able to do what they've always done? And how confident are you with the quarterbacks?
Oh, I love it. I love the situation with a young quarterback because it just asks us and demands us to be more detailed than ever. Not that these guys can't bail us out at times, but, to be exact with landmarks, to be very clean with body language, to not confuse people, having a younger quarterback that is maybe not learning it all at the first time, but they're also don't have a large body of work. So I think it's awesome. And it really provides a lot of, clear direction on what's expected. Are we doing it? Are we not? And then, we don't have the cloudiness all the time of maybe quarterbacks making us right. And they obviously do, but anytime quarterbacks make you right, it kind of covers up the real problem, the real inefficiency. So again, production doesn't mean it was good. Production means it was good enough, and we're trying to aim for excellence. So a lot of times there's a little more ownership now on knowing we got to take care of our duty to handle, and to help the young quarterbacks. So I love the situation right now. Obviously, we get through spring. We don't have any young quarterbacks anymore. We'll carry that tag probably for the spring practice. But once we clear that, man, there's no rookie mentality anymore. We got to go. So.
All right, we're going to do just a couple more for Coach because we got a couple of receivers ready for you. So let's go to Dan Hope from 11 Warriors.
Hey, Brian, Marvin and Emeka have both already lost their black stripes. Just wondering for each of those guys, what have they done so far this spring to impress you?
Yeah, the whole stripe thing really isn't, it's not really my call. They obviously if I approve or not deny, that's fine. But It comes down to peers, swinging for the guys. It comes down to other coaches bringing it up. It talks to academics. It talks to all kinds of things. It's not just about on the football field. It's about how you carry yourself off the field. And these guys embody all that. I mean, I don't see anybody spend more time on the jugs, more time in the room, coming in extra than I do those two young men at this point. Obviously, and Jaden too. That's all coming along. But these guys have worked at a very high level, and they don't carry themselves like freshmen. They don't act like freshmen. But at this point, my job is I'm trying to throw as much of them at them as possible because they have shown me they can pretty much handle it. They've done a pretty darn good job, and the stripe removal comes more based on the peers and the people around than it does of me. But I think their consistency level to hit on the football side of things, their consistency level in details, their desire to want to reach perfection in the details has probably been a big separator. I think they've done a good job, learning offensively. They have pretty limited, missed assignments, which tells you they do a great job going from the meeting to the practice field. They work really hard. They've been healthy. They haven't gotten hurt. So they've been on the field every day, being able to get better. You can't get better unless you're on the field. And so again, you continue to check boxes and continue to get reps, and a lot of good things have shown up.
All righty, we'll do two more for Coach. We'll go first to Nathan Baird, Cleveland.com.
Brian, I kind of want to follow up a little on Julian, but as a coach, and especially maybe as someone who's been there before, how do you help a guy who comes in with like such high expectations and then runs into, I guess, his own health, everything he went through, the whole team went through last year, and then just having, a really top heavy room right now with like guys like Garrett and Chris? Like, how are you helping him sort of manage expectations, but then also, I guess, you still want them to have a certain urgency to want to be on the field as quickly as possible?
Yeah, I think what you're hitting on is all the outside noise, the things that you guys write about, the fake narratives that come out all the time. I think that at the end of the day, none of that helps him become where he wants to. He's got a goal, and I'm sure he can tell you where that goal is at. And it has nothing to do with his current situation. It has nothing to do with the current room situation. It purely is on probably, I want to have a great career here. I want to get my degree. I want to be able to go play in the NFL. I want to be developed at the highest level possible. And all of those things are what's important to him. And I think it's not just Julian, it's all of them. Everyone that comes to Ohio State, there's a lot of expectations, whether you guys put it on him or whether his family does or his friends, or it doesn't matter. Everyone has high expectations. So it's not always going the way you want it to go. And then when you think you get there, when you think you got it going the way you want to go, you want more. I mean, the guy that has the most targets in the world still wants more targets. The guy that has the most money in the world still wants more money. So it's just controlling the mental narrative constantly, because if you can do that, you can be successful in anything in life. And so blocking out what people say on Twitter, blocking out the things that people don't know anything about, and really focusing on the things that are going to lead me to my success is really important. His health is critical. So glad we're getting that taken care of for him. And then we just kind of keep building from there. But the individual as a person, like you're saying, to operate where he's at with maybe other stressors out there he has to defend on, not by his choice, has been phenomenal. He's done a great job. His maturation from an athlete to actually becoming a receiver has been awesome. And you'll hear no qualms from me at this point. Looking forward to having him back on a full-time schedule after having some surgery.
All righty, and last question for Coach Hartline. We'll go to Bill Landis from The Athletic.
Brian, you guys played so much with two tight ends last year. I'm wondering how much you might anticipate that changing this coming season, and if you think some of the guys behind Garrett and Chris this year will have a little more opportunity to get on the field than they did last year.
Yeah, I would say that, Coach Day does a great job developing our offenses based on personnel. So our personnel will be indicative of, how these guys work and how these guys execute at a high level. To take one guy off the field and put another guy on, that guy better be of equal value, if not more value. So our job as receivers is to put ourselves in a position where we never need to come off the field. We don't need a better blocker. We are that. I think that, all those things come again, and again, like we had some, Luke and Jake did a really good job at tight end. And so maybe not having that, we're probably looking for guys to come step forward. Again, I'm not, Coach Wilson could probably give you more feedback on that, but that's always been our mantra. Best players play, try to keep the best guys on the field. And then obviously based on job description. So our job is to be as multifaceted as possible. If we feel like we're a liability in any kind of facet, well, we're going to be replaced and personnel is going to change. So it's always our goal. Couldn't tell you how it's going to shape up now. It's just spring. But having multiple personnel groups is really vitally important to us, and we'll continue that. At what cost, I don't know.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time today, Coach. Really appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
All right. All right, folks. We got Garrett Wilson here for you. We're going to start it out with Stephen Means from Cleveland.com. Stephen, got a question for Garrett.
Hey Garrett. I asked Ryan a question like this. I want to ask you as well. There's a lot of highly rated guys who come through here, but there are just some guys when they're true freshmen are maybe just a little bit more ready to play college football the moment they get here. You were obviously one of those guys we saw in the spring game in your freshman year. How, for you and your experiences before you got to Ohio State, what maybe made you that not so much good enough to play here, but just ready to play as soon as you got here?
When you grow up in a place like Texas, you have the opportunity to play football year round. So my last 2 years of high school ball, I got the opportunity to do that. Usually I play basketball during the off season, but growing up in Texas, like I said, you have that opportunity. So I think more people around the country are starting to do that. And especially like for quarterbacks and receivers, skill positions, that could be a big factor in being ready to play, and seeing the competition and getting those reps, year round.
All righty, we'll go next to Jeremy Birmingham from Lettermen Row.
Garrett, just a quick question for you. How do you evolve as a player from last year to this year? How do you go from a guy that everyone knows as a spectacular playmaker on the field on Saturdays to being a guy that's, there every day, all year round, and to become a leader in the receiver room?
Yeah, that's my focus right now because despite the year that happened, last year was a great season for Zone 6, in Ohio State. Not the way we wanted, but still a great season. But, you still have so much you can improve on. So for me, that's the biggest thing. And that wakes me up every morning knowing that I can still get so much better. And, most people when they get successful, it's human nature, to chill out and, take your foot off the pedal. But, we're taking a different approach in the Zone 6 room. So.
All righty, next up, we'll go to Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Hi, Garrett. Your first 2 years, you were blessed to catch balls from Justin Fields. Obviously, he's going to be a top pick. Now you're going to be catching balls from a guy who's never thrown a college pass. Could you just kind of tell me how confident you are that whoever wins the job is going to be able to play at the level that you guys expect?
Yeah, I mean, we every year, we recruit. So we recruit the top dudes. And this has been going on for forever. And then, Coach Day is one of the best at his job in the country. So, I'm very confident, and everyone on the team is confident that whoever's slinging the ball back there is going to be ready to go week one. And be able to take us wherever we're built to go. So I'm very confident in that.
Thank you.
All righty, next we'll go to Dan Hope from 11 Warriors.
Hey, Garrett, you had the opportunity recently to participate in a pro day with Justin Fields and catch passes from him. And I was just curious, someone who, maybe next year you're going through that process, just kind of how valuable was that opportunity for you?
Yeah, for the coaches to, let us be involved with Justin's pro day, that was a huge blessing just to get and show your ability, a year early in front of those scouts. So, it's definitely something I didn't take for granted. And, just getting that opportunity, I was super nervous before it. So to kind of get those nerves out of the way and know what I'm getting myself into, whenever that time comes for me to have my own pro day, it was definitely a good experience.
All righty, next up is Austin Ward, Lettermen Row.
Garrett, were you surprised that you got another year to play with Chris when you made that decision, and what does that mean for this offense?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I was surprised because when you're as good as Chris, you think those dudes get gone. So I was surprised, but whenever he had told me, I knew that we were gonna be right back. Hopefully right back where we were last year with a chance to compete for everything we want. So we expect to have one of the best rooms in the country, and having Chris back, that's gonna be a huge part of that.
All righty, next we'll go to Tim Hall, 97.1.
Hey, thanks, Garrett. I was just wondering, you and Chris instantly shot up to being, even in a shortened season, one of the best duos we've seen. What things do you think Chris has you beat in, and where do you think you've got him beat in?
I mean, that's a tough question. We both got our things that we bring to the table. So Chris faster right now, but once we Chris faster right now because we ain't raced. Actually, that's all I'm gonna say. We ain't raced, so by the 40 times he faster. But we're gonna see. But that's all I'm gonna speak on that. We both got our our gifts and things that we got to work on. So we just come in every day and put our head down and get to work, try to get better.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll do two more for Garrett because we got a couple more receivers ready for you. Let's go to Doug Lamarice, Cleveland.com.
Garrett, we know you played outside a lot your first year, slot a good amount last year. Where do you think you'll be on the field this year? And can you just describe a little bit, what's the difference for you of where you line up on the field, how you think your skills are maximized at each spot?
I'm gonna be at X, so it's outside receiver. Most of the time, backside is the strength of the formation. And I think it's really good for my development. It's a little bit harder to get off press and stuff like that from the outside, and when you're singled up. So I just think it's really good for my development to tie in playing slot last year and then bring it in with playing outside this year. And just be able to build my skill set to be able to play both. So personally, I want to be someone that you could put anywhere on the field. But next year I'm gonna be outside. So going back to outside.
Thank you.
All righty, we'll wrap it up with Joey Kaufman from the Columbus Dispatch. Joey.
Garrett, just to follow up on the last question, was there a particular reason you wanted to move outside? Did the coaching staff bring it up? Did you bring it up? How did the origin for that start?
We just got some dogs in the zone 6 room, so we just trying to make it happen. That's really all it is. We feel like the quarterback's going to be relying on us a lot, and the zone 6 room is super deep. We just wanted to get some I don't know how to put this. Get all the dudes out there, as best as we could. So it wasn't really my idea, but whenever they proposed it to me, I was cool with that 100%. I understood. So it is what it is.
All right, Garrett, really appreciate your time today. Thank you very much.
Appreciate y'all.
All right, folks, we got Jaxon Smith-Njigba here for you. And we'll start it out with Tim May from Lettermen Row. Tim, go ahead.
Jaxon, and I'm just wondering, with as deep a room as you guys appear to have, what do you have to do to really stand out in the next 6 months to get on the field more often, et cetera? Just what's your take on the depth of that room and the competition that's going on?
Well, when it comes to competition, all I can do is just control what I can control and just make plays, really. Just every time the ball in the air, make plays. And, it's a competition. It's a deep room, like you said. We have a lot of guys that can make plays, but, I just focus on myself, and whatever happens. I just try to make plays.
All righty, next up, Patrick Murphy, 247.
Jaxon, going back to this time last year when you guys were sent home and everything was happening, how much, now that you've gone through basically a whole spring, how much do you think you and some of the other receivers missed that maybe would have benefited you heading into last season, your freshman season?
Right. Even after this spring, just developing and competing every day, especially against our defense, just competing every day, it just gets us better, and you just get better, each and every day, every time you play. So, last spring it was hard for us. It was hard to develop. I didn't get to develop as much because I'm not, running routes and catching balls every day like I did this spring. So this spring was real crucial, and it was big for us, big for me.
Alrighty, next up, let's go to Nathan Baird, Cleveland.com.
Hey, Jaxon, I guess kind of following up on that, considering you didn't get to have the spring and the preseason that you expected, how much of a confidence builder was the contributions that you made last season? And could you kind of feel that, coming into this spring, that being able to get out there and contribute as a true freshman set you up for something better this season?
Right. It did set me up. Just going out there and just getting a feel. I know we only played 7 games, but just going out there, it really helped me just to see what it's like. Didn't get the atmosphere and a lot of things I didn't want, but just going out there and competing, it helped a lot.
All right, let's go next to Dan Hope from 11 Warriors.
Hey, Jaxon. Coach Hartline said that you are maybe the best blocking receiver in the room right now. How much pride do you take in that being a part of your game?
I know, we can all catch the ball. We can all do, well, I know I can catch the ball. I can run routes. So if I just add that to my game, it just makes me even better, even a more all-around player. So that's what I focus on, and I take pride in it. And I just try to do the best in whatever they ask me to do. I just try to do it to my full capability.
All right, next up, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Hi, Jaxon. Could you just give me your impressions of each of the quarterbacks? What kind of distinguishes them? How are they different from each other?
They all 3 can play. They all 3 can sling the ball. Ready to see, how things go in a game or whatever. But that's a hard question. They're all 3 talented. They're real talented. I don't know. They're all 3 talented.
All righty, let's go next to Spencer Holbrook, Lettermen Row.
By next fall, going into the summer, just gonna get bigger, faster, stronger. Just making plays, really. Just ready to go out there in the fall and just make plays. Blocking and receiving. Just getting open, catching the ball, doing whatever my team asks, whatever coach asks.
Awesome. All right, Jaxon. Thank you very much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, folks, we got Jameson Williams here to spend a couple minutes with you. We'll start it out. Doug Lamarice, go ahead and lead us off.
Yeah, I think your mic muted still.
Sorry, man. All right. Sorry about that, Jameson. How did you feel like last season went for you, and how do you feel like you've grown as a receiver in the offseason and what you've shown in spring so far?
I feel like last season was a good season. Like I just feel like it was a good season overall. Made plays. I had fun. Had a lot of fun. I feel like I got better as the season went on. Also, but this offseason, I feel like I got a lot better. I've been just working on certain things and then perfecting those certain things to become a full wide receiver.
All right, let's go next to Tony Gerdeman, Buckeye Scoop.
James, we asked Coach Hartline what allowed Emeka and Marvin to have their black stripes removed, and he said a lot of it was from their peers. telling, giving that feedback. So what have you seen from those two that allowed that to happen for them?
Really, I just been seeing a lot of plays made. Marv, he a ball hawk. He if the ball in the air, he gonna get it. Mech too, they just make a lot of plays, and I'm one of the guys that's vouching for him to get the stripe off. I'm like, we need a stripe, because when I was a freshman, that's what happened to me. Like, we need a stripe. So I'm vouching for those guys. Like, we need a stripe. With me seeing the plays being made by those two guys.
All righty, next up, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Hi, Jameson. Saturday will be the first time you guys have played in front of really any sizable number of fans. How excited are you for that? What do you think the atmosphere will be like on Saturday?
I think the atmosphere will be crazy. Ohio State fans, they go crazy. So I'm hoping we get out there Saturday, have a good time, just have fun, play ball, what we do best. I'm just looking forward to a good time, really.
All right, thank you.
All right, we'll go next to Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch.
Jameson, what has it been like to build chemistry with these new quarterbacks this camp?
It hasn't been like a hard type of task. Like, we out there every day, we get into it. So like it's kind of like Ross on there, like QB throw it to the wide receiver. We got to get open. Like, it's really much. It's not that hard of a task, I would say.
Alrighty, next up, Patrick Murphy, 247.
Jameson, you said there are things you're working on to perfect. I'm curious what specific things you think you can get better at to be a bigger factor in this offense.
Better routes, most definitely. Catching the ball more consistently. Basically, like, playing around with my speed. Like, I'm a fast guy, Sometimes put the speed on the DB, make them open up. Sometimes I gotta tighten tempo down a little bit, get a better route in. So basically those things, like the speed with the routes, and the catch.
All right, let's go next to Nathan Baird, Cleveland.com.
Jameson, I want to ask a little bit about Julian Fleming and what you guys are seeing from him behind the scenes as far as just his practice performances or his work ethic, those sorts of things. Just because we haven't been able to see him that much yet in games, but what's impressing you guys about him along the way?
I just feel like Julian is a real great ball player. Like, he gets it done. Like, and most people might not know, but he really fast. Like, he's really fast. To me, when I see Julian, he's fast. And that's a good thing to have. Like, speed is a good thing to have as a receiver, I would say. But overall, I would say, like, Julian is a ball player. He makes plays also, just like everybody. Like, he makes plays.
All right, we'll do two more for Jameson, and then we're going to bring in Chris Olave. We will go to Jeremy Birmingham. Jeremy.
And Jameson, at times, do you kind of feel like the forgotten man in this offense, and at least not maybe in the offense itself, but the way that it's talked about, and considering your contributions in like the Clemson game and towards the end of last season when you were really stepping up? Do you feel like maybe people don't give enough credit to where your role is in this offense?
No, I really don't feel left out. And like, me personally, I really don't look forward to like other people crediting me, because like, I know it's gonna come. Patience is like, no.
For you though, how important was it to make those plays in that Clemson game and towards the end of the year? How much different did that make you feel heading into this next season?
I feel great. I felt great making that play. Like, that was a play like I feel like it was one of the best plays like I've made throughout my career. Big touchdown, big game, Like, I feel like it just set me up,
All right, and we'll wrap up Jameson with Austin Ward from Lettermen Row.
Jameson, I think a lot of us were surprised that Chris elected to come back for one more year. What is he like as a leader for your room, and how meaningful is that for Zone 6?
He excellent person, excellent big brother, excellent everything. Like, Chris is just, big bro to everybody. He's the oldest in the room. Look out for everybody, make sure everybody doing good. Like, you mess up on something, you make sure he gonna get that right and everything. So like, it was great seeing Chris come back to play senior year at All State.
Awesome. All right, Jameson, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it today.
Yeah.
And with that, we'll bring in Chris Olave. All righty, folks, we got Chris Olave here for you, and we will let Nathan Baird be the leadoff hitter for this one. Nathan, go ahead.
Chris, obviously you came back and surprised some people in doing so. As you've approached this spring, what have you kind of prioritized as being important for you taking the next step, or I guess capitalizing on why you came back?
I feel like I needed to work on some things. So I came back, try to get in the weight room more, get a lot stronger, turn into a complete receiver, and try to be NFL ready week one when I get to the NFL.
All right, let's go next to Dan Hope from 11 Warriors.
Hey, Chris, a couple weeks ago, you were out there catching passes for Justin Fields at the pro day. I mean, that could have been your pro day, and you're back here for another year. So just curious, kind of what that was like for you.
It was fun. Not seeing Justin for so long, him going to California training and stuff. But to finally get out there and run routes in front of scouts and just run routes with all my teammates and especially catch balls from Justin. It was fun being out there and trying to make him look good. So.
All righty, next up, let's go to Bill Rabinowitz from the Dispatch.
Hi, Chris. You coming back could be viewed as kind of your faith in whoever the quarterback would be, being a good enough quarterback. I mean, you've caught balls from Dwayne and Justin. Give me your level of faith and the quarterbacks that are now competing for that job, and what kind of distinguishes them from each other.
They're all good in their own way. Kyle's really good. Jack is really good. And CJ is really good. But I believe Coach Day is gonna make the best decision. He's one of the best coaches in the country. So, but us receivers, we try to make it easier on the quarterbacks. Us receivers, so we try to get open for them and communicate with them at all times. Whoever's the quarterback, we're gonna feel good about it. So,
thanks.
All righty, next we'll go to Tim May from Lettermen Row. Tim.
Thanks, Mike. Hey, Chris, I've never asked you, but I'm just wondering, within the realm of running a route and having to pick up one landmark and make sure you make your cut, et cetera, and be in one place at the exact right time, how much freedom do you have to get open, so to speak?
it's not a lot of freedom, but it's really a lot. I mean, we just have to be at a certain landmark, certain place at a certain time. But once you get used to it, you kind of try to master the game. That's what I'm trying to do, especially now that I came back my senior year. So just trying to master the game and perfect my craft, and just working at the little things and trying to make them great. So.
All right, let's go next to Austin Ward from Lettermen Row. Austin.
Chris, I hate
Thanks, man.
belaboring the point here, but when you talk about wanting to come back to be NFL ready week one, what makes you think that you weren't?
There's a lot of reasons why I came back, but that's one reason why I came back. I feel like I could have got a lot stronger in the weight room. Try to play more strength. That's one of the flaws I had in my game last year. But I wanted to come back, work with Coach Mick another year, compete against Garrett, Jameson in the off season. A lot of guys in Zone 6. I feel like I could get better and be better myself, but as more as a person. And Coach Hartline, one of the best coaches in the country. So just another year in the system, and I feel like I'll be good.
All righty, next up, let's go to Tony Gerdeman, Buckeye Scoop.
Chris, we hear you, the old guy in the room now, teaching everybody what to do and what not to do. Who was that for you, and what did you learn from them?
I feel like when people refer to me as an old guy, I feel like I'm not that old, really. I feel like I'm still 20 years old. I don't turn 21 till late June. So, but to be referred as that is huge. My freshman year I came in, it was guys like Paris Campbell, Johnny Dixon, Terry McLaurin, CJ Saunders, KJ Hill. I mean, so many guys at receiver. It was loaded. I mean, they weren't getting the touches they wanted, but it was all a brother at the end of the day. They all blocked for each other. They all did the little things for each other, and that's what I wanted to do this room. There's only one ball, so everybody can't get the ball at every play. So we got to work with each other. That's how we want to do it.
Thanks.
All right, got time for just a couple more. We'll go to Patrick Murphy first. Patrick.
Chris, when you made the decision to come back, did you talk to especially some of the younger receivers in the room, guys who probably haven't had the opportunity that they hoped for? Because I think a lot of them probably assumed, like we did, that you were going to go and there would be more chances. Did you have to talk to them and kind of say, hey, look, this is why I'm coming back, and here's how I see this going?
I mean, I called them, most of them, on the phone before I made the decision. Told them I was coming back. They were cool with it. We're all close, so they understood. And that's how it went. We all FaceTime all of them. I just told them right before I made my decision.
All righty, next up, Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch.
Chris, beyond your physical development and wanting to get stronger and wanting to become more ready for the NFL, were there other reasons for you wanting to come back for your senior year?
Of course, I wanted to. Both my brothers have their degrees, so I wanted to get that. And just being a part of the program, I feel like it's huge. I mean, I like it here. I just wanted to get better and hopefully take that next step this year.
All righty, we'll do two more. First one to Stephen Meads. Stephen, go ahead.
Chris, you keep talking about you just wanted to get stronger. I don't know. Were you getting that type of feedback from people that's something they wanted to see you do, or is that just a revelation you came to on your own?
I feel like, I mean, not going to the NFL, it was just something holding me back, really. After the national championship, I had that terrible feeling. I'm a competitor, so after that national championship, I had a terrible feeling in my stomach. I just didn't want to leave college like that. And growing up dreaming, I always wanted to win a national championship. I always wanted to do everything in college and go to the NFL. So I came back to, I feel like we had unfinished business. I believe in the quarterback play. I believe in Coach Day. I believe in the program. So I wanted to do another year to try to win a national championship and try to do all those things.
All righty, and last question for Chris to Jeremy Birmingham. Jeremy.
Hey, Chris, with the young guys, with Marvin, with Emeka, I mean, you've had an opportunity this spring, probably not to take a lot of reps because you don't really need as many as those guys do. What have you seen that will surprise people when they get a chance to see them on Saturday for the first time?
Marvin Harrison is real. I mean, route runner, technician, all that. He's a deep threat. He's a real good receiver. And I hope you guys get to see that on Saturday. Mecca is really good. Also, he's really developing when he first got here. Since when he first got here, and Jaden's really good too. He's really athletic, really raw. Once he learns how to become a receiver, he's gonna be really good. So I'm really proud of those guys and how they keep developing, and they work so hard. They keep their heads down. They don't really say much. Those are the type of guys that you want. So they're gonna be really good in the future. I can't wait.
Are you impressing on them the importance of special teams and their opportunity to make an impact there?
I ain't even have to say anything to them, really. That's how the program is built. So they're doing a lot of special teams reps, trying to get on special teams so they can play on offense. But yeah, Marvin Harrison he's real. He's the real deal.
All righty, awesome, Chris. Thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it today.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, folks. Thanks for hopping on today, and we will talk to you again.